Welcome to New Day Cleveland. The whole gang is here. I'm David Moss. Natalie is here, and the Jersey Boys are here, sort of. Remember when they were at Playhouse Square and they helped us do the whole show all together? Well, now it's all about the Jersey Boys, but this time it's in a motion picture, and this is Clint Eastwood directed. It's the Jersey Boys. I want to give you a sneak peek at this. It doesn't open until June 20th, but check it out.
I would love to introduce you to a new discovery of mine, Frankie Valli.
I heard them all, but I never heard a voice like Frankie Valli's. I know I need to write for this voice.
Frankie, the world is gonna hear that voice.
You want me to produce your songs?
Find a name and a sound, and then we can make something happen.
Listen, we got something for you, all right?
Sherry. Set up the 8-track. We're gonna double Frankie's voice. It's gonna explode right off the radio.
Yeah, so this was a lot of fun. If you like the play, you have to see the movie, of course. Movie is all the music's there. The guy who plays the lead is the guy who won the Tony Award, the Drama Desk Award, all the awards. The only guy to do that on Broadway. So the lead is great, and the rest of the guys are terrific too. And of course, we did the interviews. You're going to see those next week. Doesn't open until the 20th. Directed by Clint Eastwood, who's done a lot of musical movies. People don't realize that because they think of him as Dirty Harry or that crazy unknown cowboy in the Wild Wild West. But he did a great job on this. Talk to the guys. There's one of them right there, Eric Bergen and Michael Lamenda. Of course, we talked about cooking because, you know, these Italiano guys, man, they like their Italian food.
On the final day of filming, which we filmed in New Jersey, we went to the Belmont Tavern,
right, which is unbelievable.
Which is where these guys started. I mean, their pictures are still on the wall from 1963. And you want to talk about authentic Italian cooking? It
Like,
was
what did you like the most that you had there?
everything, everything. The clams, the sauce. I'm just happy I didn't have it during filming. The costumes wouldn't have fit.
Yeah, that's great.
A lot of fun, and thank you to John Ackerman for putting that picture of the restaurant in there. That was not available, and he found it somehow, so you got a good peek at that. So I was thinking about what's great in Italian restaurants, always the meatballs, right? I tell you, sometimes I go to, they have veal, they got this, they got that, but I always try out their meatballs and their pasta sauce. So here's some meatballs we're gonna make, and I'm calling Moss Man's meatballs, how about that? And I'm making with a pound of beef and a half pound of veal. That'll make them a little more tender. But here's how we're gonna season them. I got 2 eggs in this big cup here, and then we're gonna put in 1 tablespoon of parsley. And then the basil I didn't chop up yet, because if you chop the basil way ahead of time, I think you lose some of the flavor, and I think it turns black on you, and it's not as nice. So I'm gonna chop that fresh for you right now, about a tablespoon. And I'll tell you what, if you get a little bit more, you can't put too much basil in anything, so you're gonna be fine with that. So that's gonna be a fat tablespoon to go with the 1.5 pounds of meat. So these measurements are all they're pretty loose. You can have some fun with it. The garlic, we've got 3 cloves of garlic here. That's to 1.5 pounds of meat, and of course you can make the amounts bigger. 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. If you don't like red pepper flakes, put a 1/4 teaspoon of the cayenne in there. I've only got 1/8 is what I meant to say. Okay, teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. And why did I do it like that? Because I say when you beat the eggs and the ingredients together this way, you're not just dropping them separate in the meat, and it's hard to get it all around there. So sometimes you get garlic on one side, you get the pepper on one side. It's sort of a mess, so I don't dig that. So I make the sort of the seasoning mix like that. And then here's the meat. And so you can stick your hands in there if you want. I'm going to in a minute after I put some gloves on, but I'm going to mix the veal in here just a little bit, cut it in with a spoon. Now, one thing you want to do is you want to overwork the ingredients, because you overwork the ingredients, they get too dense. Next thing you know, you've got hard meatballs. Nobody likes that. Okay, we got one more thing we got to put in there. I got 2 pieces of bread, and I cut the crusts off, not because the crusts are tough necessarily, but it gives you about the right size too. See how much bread is in the crust? I mean, that's a lot of bread. You don't need that much. See? Okay, there you go. Got a good look? We're going to put it in here, tear it up a little bit, because I want moist breadcrumbs. This bread is like just a day old, and you can put dry ones in if you want, but what are the dry ones going to do? They are going to take the moisture out of the meat and give you dry meatballs. So I was talking to Mama Gallucci one day. Give me your secret to your meatballs. She said, I can't tell you my secret. I said, please, Mama Gallucci, at Gallucci's, you know, where the chef's shop. She says, okay, I'll tell you. So here's what she told me. I can't tell you. She told me not to tell anyone. But if you put a little milk in the breadcrumbs, that might help too. I didn't tell him, Mama Gallucci. Okay, so that's gonna go in there. That's gonna go in here. So that's the 2 pieces of bread, the crumbs. I'm gonna turn on my pan over here. I've got about 1/2 cup of Romano cheese, Pecorino Romano. I'm gonna mix this together a little bit, and then I'm putting on the gloves. I don't like gloves much, but you know what? It's a lot better this way. And for you ladies with the fancy jewelry, take off the jewelry because it'll cut your gloves. And if you do barehanded, you don't want to have meatballs under your gloves. under your jewelry, I should say. Okay, here we go. So we got the oil getting hot. I'm gonna mix this together, and this is what it looks like. See, so we got a nice moist mixture here. Mix it together. Like I said, we're not gonna mix it too much, but see how nice and moist that is? Now you can put less bread in. I gotta tell you something. White bread is good, Italian bread is good. I bought some bread this time that was supposed to be fancy Italian bread, and it had a little brown color to it, and you know what? It made the meatballs taste different. So everything you put in there makes it taste a little bit different. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So I'm gonna make the meatballs about 2 inches. And you know what? It's sort of like the size of your hands, because that sort of comes out natural for me. You got little hands, you're gonna have little balls. You got big hands, you're gonna have bigger balls, right? 2 inches. And I think that sort of works great. And doing it this size, you get about 12 of them. And what you do is you put them in the oil like that. Pretty easy to see, right? So you put all 12 of them in there, and then you turn them once in a while, because they're gonna brown. See how they brown on one side there? It's better to turn them with a tool, because that's sort of hot in there. There you go. See, so I'd have all 12 of them in there. And when they're done, so you take the gloves off, got nice clean hands. I put them in a sauce. So I get my favorite sauce. I'm gonna turn this off now, put it over here. Since you got the idea, right? You got the idea on the meatballs? So then I put them in the sauce after I get them browned. So I brown them maybe 4 minutes. That's what it takes for all sides. Put them in the sauce, you simmer the sauce, cook them for about 15 minutes or so, and they stay nice and tender. They get that tomatoey flavor in there, and they are terrific. Okay, so we got that going on. Changing out my cutting board. And what do you do with meatballs? Well, you can put them with pasta, right? Or you can make a big old meatball sandwich. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put together a meatball sandwich here. And here's what I did with this. I carefully cut it, and then I reached inside and I pulled out a bunch of the bread like this. So inside, see, it sort of looks like that. It's a little hollowed out. Now what you could do is you could cut the meatballs in half and put them in, and then line them up real nice. But that's if you have, like, 10 minutes to do it, and I have 4 minutes to do it. So this way you're gonna get the idea. So we took a lot of the bread out of there so the meatballs fit in, right? And then, should that last one go in there? Get in there, you rascal. Okay. I hate licking my fingers. I saw a chef do that on TV once. Oh, it bummed me out. So that was the left hand. Right hand. Okay, we're going with the cheese. I'm gonna put the cheese on the top. I've got the oven 450 degrees, and when I put that in there, I'm gonna toss this under the broiler. I'm gonna turn the broiler on, and we're gonna see what happens when we come back right after the break. There we go. Look at that, huh? So that's what the meatballs look like on the inside, so you can sort of see. And it's always nice to put a little cheese on them, maybe.
Can I ask you what sauce you were using? You said it's a lot of the keys in the sauce too.
Well, you know what?
Is that a
I
secret?
make my sauce a lot, and it's really easy to do. It's online. I got a whole bunch of different pasta sauces.
Okay,
but if you
good.
just get, like, chopped tomatoes, some crushed tomatoes, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of olive oil, put that together and cook it for an hour, you got a great sauce. Or just go to the store and pick out your favorite one that's on the shelf.
Okay.
So that's pretty good.
Okay.
I've got a clean fork here for you.
I brought napkins because I decided to wear a white dress today.
Yeah, and I thought it'd be really great for you to pick up this sandwich.
Oh,
Wait till you
I'm
see what
gonna
the
hit the
sandwich
mic.
looks like. It's been in there, what, about 2 minutes, commercial break? So this is what's going on. And
You know
you
what,
can put
who
more
cares?
sauce
We
in
don't
it
need
too
this.
if you like.
Look at this. Oh my gosh. That's for me, right? Is that all for me?
Oh, this looks terrible. Let me just try and turn it.
It does not look terrible. It looks wonderful.
There we go. Now you can see it pretty good. Put a little sauce on here too, huh? So you try the
My
meatball
mouth is
yet?
watering. No. Oh.
I don't want you to have
Oh,
to.
you don't want me to have to do that,
no,
so you're giving
in
me
that
this.
dress? Are you kidding me?
Girls got to do what a girl's got to do.
You know what we could do is we could put this on a big plate and then put your hand, like dive on it.
I hope my mom's not watching right now, because what I'm about to say might hurt her feelings.
How are they?
These are extremely good meatballs. My mom makes the best meatballs I've ever had, but Mom, we're gonna learn how to make this now.
You know what? I've been looking how to make great meatballs for a long time. And I talked to Robert Downey Jr. one time, and he went to this restaurant over there near Beverly Hills where they make it out of filet mignon. So I went over there and I got that recipe and I tried that, and that was pretty good. But I think I like it with the 1 pound of beef and a ½ pound of veal. A lot of people put pork in it also. Pork makes it a little gamier to me, so I sort of dig this recipe.
That is so good.
Are they too salty or are they good? You like them?
No, not. They're perfect. They're perfect. They're perfect meatballs.
Because you get that Pecorino Romano in there, and that's a little salty also. So if you don't like things salty, you can back off on the salt a little bit. But it's good, huh?
They just melt in your mouth.
Yeah,
They
that's
melt in your
the
mouth.
important thing. You know, we didn't
I
overhandle them.
can't
You saw
stop.
how moist they were, so they don't come out. They don't feel like something you could throw at somebody and injure them. Do not throw your meatballs across the room.
Are you gonna cut that up for later? Am I gonna get to have a
The whole
that
crew is
too?
going to have meatball sandwiches
Okay,
later.